An entitled Karen screams at me and gets physical with me after I refused to allow her son to take my phone and use it as entertainment. But I decided I was not going to take her attitude for a second, as I talked back by insulting her and telling her that she's a terrible mother. But now I'm wondering if I'm the jerk for the way that I reacted, because at this point I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So for a bit of background, I'm a 27-year-old Dutch woman who is currently 5 months pregnant and has a wife. My wife and I were at an airport waiting for our flight, which was in a few hours, when my wife goes to get something to eat. I asked her if she could get me something, and then she went her way. As I was sitting there, I was reading on my phone when this kid comes up to me and says, "Ma'am, could I play on your phone?" I say to them, "I'm sorry, but no." The kid says okay and walks to his mother's seat about 20 feet away from me, and he tells her what I said. And this is the entitled Karen of this story. This Karen then gets up and walks over to me and says to me, "You need to let my son play on your phone." I then said to her, "Why should I? It's my property, not yours or his." The Karen makes a frustrated noise and then walks back to her seat. My wife comes back with some fruit for me, and I grab some and I started eating. After a few hours, our plane was here and we got on, and guess what? The entitled Karen was sitting literally right beside me. She says to her son, "Don't mess with the stuff." Now I hear this, but I shrug it off, as she is just being a Karen. Then she tells her son a few other things, but I couldn't hear as I was now listening to some music. The kid sits to my right and the Karen to the right of him. Once we take off, the kid asked his mom something, and she gives him a short and quiet response. The kid starts rubbing his arms against my arm and even tried to poke my stomach a bit, but I looked at him and he stopped. He then looked at me and said, "How did you get pregnant if you're married to a girl?" And when he said that, I just put my headphones back in and ignored him, and I continued reading on my phone. The kid then continues bugging me, and eventually he picks his nose and tries to wipe it on me, but I grabbed his hand and I rub it on his arm instead, and he tells his mom. The kid and his mom swap seats, and the Karen grabs my hair and yanks at it. Then I pull out an earbud, put my phone down, and grab her wrist as hard as I can. She yells at me, "Why did you touch my baby?" I respond by squeezing her wrist so that she would let go of my hair. I say to her, "He was about to put his snot on my arm." The Karen released my hair and tried to smack my stomach, but my wife chimed in and said, "Hey, look, just get your kid to stop messing with my wife." The Karen then called her a racist name, and then she looks at me and calls me another name aimed at lesbians, and I respond by saying that you're a piece of garbage and a terrible parent. After that, she asked to move seats with another guy, but in the end, me and my wife had no more problems on our trip. So honestly, I need to know, am I the jerk for yelling at this Karen when she was being obnoxious? No, I don't think you're the jerk at all. I think her demeanor and the way she was acting was completely out of line. Like, she was allowing her kid to basically bother you nonstop, as well as try to wipe his snot all over your arm. Like, seriously, that is unbelievably disgusting. There is no good excuse for that, and honestly, you hit the nail on the head. This lady is a terrible parent. It's also crazy to me at how entitled this lady truly was. Like, she was really trying to get you to give up your property to her son, as if you're supposed to just give it away without any kind of problem. Like, you don't know these people at all. They are literally the definition of strangers, and there's no way if I was in your shoes, I would ever give up my phone. So no, I don't think you're the jerk. I think this entitled Karen was being a bully, and she had no right to talk to you or your wife like that in the slightest. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. My boyfriend is constantly getting direction and instruction from his mother, as she literally controls every aspect of his life and refuses to not be involved in our relationship. But at this point, I'm seriously considering breaking up with him, and I'm at a point where I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I've been in a long-distance relationship with my boyfriend for 4 years. I'm 23 years old and he is 25. He is my best friend and I truly love him. I know that by even asking this, I probably already know my answer, but I am having a tough time accepting it. Should I end my relationship or continue it and allow my boyfriend to move to my state with his family? He is planning on moving here in April with his family, and I don't have much time left to make a decision. I am feeling lots of doubt despite my feelings for him. I am concerned about his mom. I have so many long stories I could share, but I really will try to keep it short. I have noticed so many red flags, but because we are in such a long distance relationship, I can forgive them once I get home and I'm away from her. Since I only visit for a week about every other month, I feel I do not even know half of what is to come in the future if I marry into this family. For the short periods of time that I have been in person with his his family, I always have several experiences that cause me to feel doubt, but everything else about him is so amazing to me that I can forgive them once I am home. Soon, that will not be the case if they move to my state. He originally was going to move here on his own, but without speaking to me about it, planned for his family to come as well. This did not initially upset me so much at first, because I assumed his family would probably follow eventually. He is an only child, and up until now, I had not thought a lot about what it would be like for them to be here too. I only imagined him. I get along with his mom because I'm a meek person. She is extremely hot-headed, she's pushy and overbearing. I do not enjoy being around her, and she makes me feel exhausted. There have been many things she has said to me that have been left-handed comments, but I've ignored them and always remained respectful to her. I don't like confrontation, but she's one of those people where if you have a problem with her, you need to say it to her face. We are really close right now, but I genuinely believe that if I had just a little more of a backbone, she would completely hate me. I know that makes me sound so insincere, but I just want to build a good relationship with her. She cannot take no for an answer, and I am so bad at saying no. I will say no to her a million times, and she just doesn't give up. She will just do what she wants. Now, my boyfriend and his mom are extremely close. His biological father left when he was around 3 years old, and his mom remarried when he was 5. His stepdad is like a real father to him, and they get along very well. His dad and mom have a healthy relationship, and that makes me really happy. His mom has pulled me aside multiple times throughout my visits, just to tell me that her son is number one in her life, even before her husband. She pulls me aside very often to make comments just like that. She also often texts me about how sweet and amazing he is. He lives with his parents right now because he wants to save up to move in with me. He has lived apart from his parents for 2 years in the past in an apartment that was less than 5 minutes away from their house. When he moved out, his mom cried uncontrollably for days. His mom and dad both constantly dote on him. When I'm visiting, they knock on his door several times a day just to talk to us, and when I'm not there, they enter his room constantly without knocking, even when we're on a phone call together. It is more his mom than his dad, but it can be his dad sometimes. His mom will enter his room and sit on his bed and just listen to our conversation. She will complain that he does not spend time with her or eat with her anymore, and since I'm not there in person, he and his mom will go out one-on-one together several times a week for meals. Now, this does not bother me because I also like spending time with my mom, but for her to whine about him not doing it enough is really concerning to me because to me, it is more than enough already. Additionally to this, she is constantly texting and calling him while we are together. I only get to see him in person every so often, so it makes me sad when she calls him and they talk on the phone for a while when they live together and get to see each other all the time. He tells her everything that we do each day, all of our plans, and sends pictures of our food, and their messages are filled with heart emojis. This did not bother me initially because I'm glad he has a good relationship with her, but since then, so much has built up and caused me more concern for how involved she is in his life. I do not know how much he texts her when I'm not there, but she calls him every day that he drives to work. She has also convinced him that he is 6 feet tall and repeatedly comments on how tall he is. Now, I don't want to burst his bubble because he genuinely believes that he is that tall, but he is probably more like 5'9" at most. Now, I don't care how tall he is perfect to me, but it's strange how his mom romanticizes his height. Every time I visit, at least once, she rubs his arms and goes on and on about how amazing and big his muscles are. She snuggles up against him when we are on the couch, and they always hug when we leave them to go to bed. And hey, maybe this is normal. At least my parents are not very physically affectionate at all. I will say though that he is independent. He works hard and can cook, he can clean and do errands for himself. His mom does currently do his laundry and help with the cleaning and cooking sometimes, but he does help out, and I know he is capable of doing these chores on his own if she wasn't around. For the majority of our relationship, every time I would visit, we would eat just about every dinner with his parents, take his mom out for lunch at least once, and spend the evening watching movies or just talking to them. If we did something alone, when we got back home, he would knock on their bedroom door and go into their room to talk to them for at least 30 minutes. Now, I know that doesn't sound long, but that time adds up when you only see your partner for a bit every few months. When he visits me, we sometimes do not eat a single meal with my family at all because I want to spend as much alone time with him as possible. If I said anything about not wanting to spend so much time with his parents, he would get sad and tell me they miss me as much as he misses me when I am gone. We have gone on several trips out of town with his family where we would spend every waking moment with them. For our 3-year anniversary, we went on a 7-day cruise with his parents, and after about 2 days, I asked him if we could just do one thing together alone without them. He reluctantly agreed, and we planned to go get a late-night snack. When the time finally came, his mom asked if she could join us because her husband went to gamble that night. My boyfriend said yes, and I was visibly annoyed, which then caused him to be annoyed with me. He told me that my behavior was unbelievable, and after we ate with his mom and parted ways with her, I expressed my annoyance to my boyfriend. He then threw a fit and stormed off to sit somewhere on his own, and for the rest of the trip, he gave me the cold shoulder. And let me tell you something, I could not wait to get off that boat and just go home. We had a serious talk after this, and since then, we spent a good bit less time with them during my visits. Now, if I am there for a week, we usually only spend about 2 to 3 dinners with them, but still spend a lot of time in their room or his room talking. Since we have decreased the time we spend with them, his mother has increasingly gotten more passive-aggressive towards me. She makes left-handed comments about my appearance and qualities, and then she tells me that you can get away with saying anything if you say it with a smile. They are too minor to truly address or complain about, but it makes me feel insecure. My greatest concern, though, came during my most recent visit. It truly gave me a reality check. We went out to dinner with his parents, and his mom tells me that we need to have a serious talk. I assume it's about them moving to my state, and they want to make sure that I'm truly serious about being with their son, but instead, they brought up my older brother. My older brother, for reference, has extreme social anxiety and sometimes does not properly greet my boyfriend when he visits. I am not close with my older brother, and I don't spend much time with him, but I warned my brother about him before meeting him because my brother is rude to everyone and has acted the same to all of my past boyfriends. My boyfriend has taken it extremely personally and brings it up quite a bit. I have spoken to my brother in private about his behavior and hear out my boyfriend when he complains because I agree with him. My brother can be very rude. If I explain that it's because he is shy, my boyfriend says I'm giving my brother excuses and that my parents did not raise him right. Well, at the dinner, his parents say that they are extremely concerned with my brother and how he treats my boyfriend. Now, I am a little shocked because I did not see it as a big deal since my brother is not a big part of my life at all. This conversation went on for a long time where they bashed my brother and the way my parents raised him. They said if my brother was rude when they were around, they would address it immediately and ask what his problem is. I think I must have been visibly scared because his dad began emphasizing that they did not hate my brother, but they were just concerned as parents. My brother really has not done anything that bad to my boyfriend other than not greet him when he visits. They acted like my brother was going to be the biggest bully and they had to stand up for their son. I just feel like he is too old to have his parents so defensive as well as being worried about something like this. I also feel like this will just start a huge fight between our families if they make a big scene about my brother. His mom tells me that I need to stand up for my boyfriend no matter what because at the end of the day, he is all I will have left when my parents pass away. I feel slightly wrong because I have spoken to my brother about his behavior a few times, and so has my mom and other family members. I may not have stood up to him directly at the moment, but I am not comfortable around him, so it is hard. Once the conversation about that ended, his mom turned to me and began asking about my future plans. She does not look at my boyfriend at all and only looks at me. She asked about when we want to move out together, as well as when we want to get married and have kids. I tell her I'm not sure if I want kids, and I want to be financially stable, have a solid job, and get married before doing that. She tells me that I should want to have kids now and live day by day instead of worrying about having an established plan. She tells me that my boyfriend's biological father did not want kids until they were established adults either, but she wanted kids so she got pregnant. I thought this was crazy because they were married in their early 20s. He expressed he did not want kids yet, and she still purposefully got pregnant. She often acts like a victim because my boyfriend's biological father left her, and my boyfriend constantly tells me he feels so sorry for her and that she is the strongest woman that he knows. She proceeds to tell me that she wants to be a young grandma and wants me to have children as soon as possible. She says that she does not want to look old in her pictures with her grandkids. She made the whole process of us having kids seem like it was all about her. Months ago, I had told her I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and if I have kids, she told me that I should want to work and provide for myself, and that I should not rely on anyone else. My boyfriend told me that I should not worry about being a stay-at-home mom because I can work while his mom takes care of our kids. But I only want kids if my partner and I can afford for me to be a stay-at-home mom. I know that is a lot to ask ask for this economy, but if that can't happen, then I simply will not plan on having kids. I am happy to work and I love my job, but if I do have kids, I would like to care for them at home until they're older. My boyfriend's mom is very much against this idea. I think maybe because she wants to be the primary caregiver, but I don't really want such a hot-headed, short-tempered person raising my kids. And I know that sounds awful. I don't even have kids yet, and I'm still worried about that. His mother did multiple things on this trip that made me very uncomfortable. I won't get into all of them, but one thing was that she took something that I had just bought and did something with it that I had asked her not to do. I did not express discomfort to her, but I spoke to my boyfriend in private afterwards. It truly was not too big of a deal, but I wanted him to know that I didn't like it. Well, he completely shut down and got defensive. We barely spoke for the rest of the day and went to bed mad at each other. My boyfriend and I have also been planning on going to a concert together once he moves here, and his mom has already invited herself to that as well. Since I have gotten home from my last trip, I have taken this concern very seriously and sat down and told my boyfriend how I truly feel about his mom. When it came to the first conversation, he did not understand why I was upset. Eventually, he saw how serious I was, and I was brutally honest with him. And I told him that I was considering pulling out of the relationship if things did not get better. He promised that he would do so much better and apologize for everything. He assured me that he would set boundaries and do anything he had to. I told him I could not know for sure if that was possible before they move here, so I was still doubtful about continuing the relationship. His solution was that he would move to my state first without them. He brings up this idea to his mom while they are out having dinner one-on-one, as they do quite often, and she says it has always been the three of them, meaning her, her husband, and her son, so that she would have to follow within 2 to 3 months after he moved if he moved here alone. She also asked him, well, what if I want to move there? As in, she would move there with or without his permission as soon as she wanted. The conversation did not go anywhere else past this point. He didn't tell his mom, no, we will need more time than 2 to 3 months, or say it cannot just be the three of us forever once I'm an adult and start my own family. I mean, he said nothing of the sort. He did not even attempt to set a single boundary. He saw her get teary-eyed and could not do it. I don't want to separate him from his mother or force a wedge between their relationship, but I don't think she can let go, and he is too nice to set any kind of boundaries. And this conversation happened hours after I told him I would pull out of the relationship if he could not prove to me that he could set boundaries. I believe she will resent me for stealing her son from her, or my boyfriend and I will constantly be fighting about his mother. My heart tells me that dinner is all I need to know about his ability to make boundaries. My biggest concern is that he cannot take any criticism about his mom. She has no boundaries, invites herself to everything, has an opinion about many personal things within our relationship, and it honestly really bothers me. I wish I could share every specific story about how she has acted, as well as the things that she has said, but it would literally be a book. And that is considering that I only see her maybe 6 to 8 weeks out of the year, and pretty soon it will be forever. Is it worth having the man of my dreams that comes in a package deal with his mother? I truly believe that he will not be able to set the boundaries that I am comfortable with. I am so happy with him, but I know I cannot be happy with her. I guess I already know my answer, but I am so heartbroken and I feel like a huge jerk. I wish I could accept and love his mother, but I am not sure that I can. Their relationship is far too close, and she is unpleasant to be around. I don't want my future to be controlled by her. He says he can set boundaries and he is willing to do anything to stay with me, but their conversation about him moving on his own proved to me otherwise. Plus, it was only a month ago when he would not speak to me for an entire day, all because I expressed discomfort to him in private about something that his mother did. He is planning to move here at the end of April, so I do not have much time to make my decision and put a halt to it. Maybe she does not sound that bad, but I'm preparing for the worst already because I truly do not know what it will be like when we are finally no longer long distance. I do not want to regret having them uproot their lives and move across the country only to end up wishing they were not here. I truly do not think I could ever find another boyfriend as loyal and thoughtful as well as selfless as my boyfriend. He is my best friend and my whole life, but his relationship to his mother has caused me to feel like this may not be right. And at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. This is insane. I seriously want to say that quite literally. This is an insane scenario and I can't believe you're still sticking around. Okay, let me just say first and foremost, if I was in your shoes, I would have backed out of this relationship after the cruise. I would have known right then and there that he does not care about my best interest and he is going to be married to his mom for the rest of his life. Like for starters, his mom is a narcissist and she really acts like she's in a relationship with her son. And not only is that super creepy, but it's also setting a weird precedent that your boyfriend absolutely needs to address. Like, that is so weird to me, it's not even funny. So the moment he was like, oh my gosh, you're just being ridiculous, and got all defensive when you said, hey, what your mom did was really weird and I don't like it, that would have been like the biggest red flag on planet Earth. Not to mention the myriad of other things you said about this woman. I guarantee you, in my opinion, the second you marry that man and the second she is all around your life, she will literally ruin your marriage. Because I know in my mind, if I was in your shoes and I got married to that guy, I would also be getting married to his mom. Because wherever your spineless boyfriend goes, your mom is also going to be there to tell him exactly what to do. Like, this guy has no backbone in the slightest too, by the way. And I'm not trying to be offensive, I'm just trying to tell you exactly how I see this. Because this honestly looks really bad. So truly, you can do whatever you want with your life, but in my opinion, if I was in your shoes, I would have broken up with this guy a long time ago. There's no way I would want to stay with someone like that, especially if they hold their mother above their spouse in their relationship. Because that's exactly what this guy's doing. His mother is on a completely different pedestal that you deserve to be placed on, and that is honestly not fair for you in the slightest. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.